Hi again, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Inside Furman Athletics. I am Dan Scott, the voice of the Paladins. Good to have you with us on what's a beautiful day right now as we record this late Tuesday morning. Maybe not going to be so nice when we're supposed to be playing softball later this weekend, but we're going to talk some softball regardless with Stacey Johnson-Whitfield, second-year head coach of the softball program, but first without the interim tag.
Yes.
That's some big stuff. How you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, it's season. You keep busy and you kind of get along, and you know, we've learned a lot so far this season, but you know, it's going well. So
as long as you're continuing to learn, right?
Oh yeah, and obviously we've had a pretty tough preseason coming in, and I think that we've won a lot of games that we definitely should have won. We definitely have lost games that we could have won, but I think you learn the most from those losses sometimes. So hopefully as we are going into SoCon, we're going to take those lessons learned and start applying them and doing a little bit better in certain areas.
Yeah, your non-conference schedule has featured Clemson once, and you're supposed to play them again at Clemson as we record this tomorrow.
Yes.
And also Georgia, Mississippi State, and South Carolina. And I think it's when we were coming back from the Sanford basketball game, Jordan Caskey, Tom Van Hoy, and I are driving back, and it was the game against Mississippi State that went 12 innings, and Jordan is continuing to update us. Oh, they got out of it again. Oh, they got out of it again. And just couldn't quite get over the hump in 12 innings. But, man, what a battle.
Oh, gosh, that was such an exciting game. It definitely would have been nice to be able to watch it back because I feel like the momentum just, you know, in times where it definitely could have changed in their direction, we just kept battling. And that's one of the biggest things we've kind of pushed this year on top of our other core values is compete. And that was probably the most exciting game we've had this year, and it didn't end in our way, but I just love to see us compete like that and show what Furman ball could really be.
You're 12-21 overall, but you're 4-2 in the Southern Conference. So where are you right now compared to where you thought you might be when the season started? And I know there's some factors we're going to talk about in a moment with injuries, but just overall, are you kind of where you thought you might be, ahead, behind? What's your thought? Or do you even look that far ahead?
I mean, to be honest, I try not to look too far ahead into the season. We try to stay where our feet are and attack where we're at in the game, and that's also something that's everywhere in our like dugout in our locker room. It says like win the pitch, win the at bat, win the inning. So we're very trying to stay in the present when we're battling in our games and looking to the weekend that's coming up. But I would say that we're semi where I thought we'd be in certain areas. We're ahead of where I thought we'd be in certain areas. And then, like I said, there's some games that I feel like we probably, if you want to say that, it would have expected to maybe come out with a win at the end. But, you know, we're still in a learning curve and a learning process right now. And I think that is what we can take from some of those instances in the preseason coming into SoCon.
Well, and just in year two, and as I said, the first year without the interim attached to your name, you're still trying to develop a culture, trying to develop a mindset, trying to develop all of these things that go into a winning program, and it's not something that happens overnight. So how's your patience level?
I was talking to Jason Donnelly about this the other day. I said, sometimes I feel very patient. Like, I'm like, this is what I see us. This is the goal of the program and the culture. And I think that sometimes you lose that patience because you see where we could be, like the Mississippi State game. And you have these games, these moments where you're like, that's it. That's what we're looking for. And it's still very up and down. So I think the patience level, sometimes I'm like, okay, this is fine. We're good where we're at, but always looking to get better. And then other times you feel like you're almost there, you're there, and it slips, and your patience kind of goes.
The life of a coach, right?
Yes, very, very roller coaster.
Hurry up and wait.
Yes, true.
right now you're battling some injuries, as we were just talking. 3 starters who are out right now, and this is not a team that's blessed with an incredible amount of depth. Again, as you're rebuilding things just in your second year, so talk about the young ladies who are out and what the prognosis is, if you can share any of that.
Yeah. Well, Hannah Hashioka was our starting second baseman. She's a junior this year. She actually played outfield, and we didn't know that she played infield. And we brought her in to play second because we needed a little bit more depth in the middle of our infield. And she was a solid second baseman for us. Really, was hitting the ball very well. She was one of our top hitters through the first, I guess, quarter to the season until she got injured at Presbyterian. We don't really know where she stands right now. She's had an injury previously to that knee, so we're kind of waiting to see if she'll be able to get in. We're hoping by the end of the season, maybe even tournament. And then we have Chloe Fabio. She did something to her hamstring about a week and a half ago when we were at Western. So we're kind of waiting to see there too. She's going to be out probably a couple weeks at least, trying to rehab that hamstring and see what's going on. But she was our starting third baseman the past, 2 years I was here, and the first year I came in, she usually played majority of our third. But we do have somebody, Sylvia Burrows, a freshman. She's got a great bat, good eye at the plate, and she's becoming more solid as she's getting the reps at third. So we're looking forward to seeing what Sylvia can kind of handle and take on there. And then we had a transfer, Ainsley Yoshizumi. She was in our 2 spot. She actually, I think, leads the SoCon in triples right now with 3, but she injured her knee out at South Alabama, and we're just kind of seeing once again where that will lay. I haven't been able to talk to our trainer yet this morning. He was in treatments, but she was our starting left fielder, sometimes our right fielder, and she was definitely a fast catalyst for our offense. So it hurts to have those injuries right now, but some of it you feel like usually happens this time of year. It's a 55-game season, and it will happen, and we're just hoping to see where we can get them back into the lineup and get them back on the field.
It always provides an opportunity for somebody else, and it maybe forces someone to confront the fact that they've got to get ready when maybe they or you didn't think that they were ready to play. They're thrust into that situation. How have those ladies responded?
I mean, Hannah Poole, obviously, last week was SoCon Player of the Week.
That helps.
That helped. She had a great series against Western. Defensively, she was struggling a little bit, and she's still struggling a little bit here and there. But overall, I feel like she really stepped up last week and came into her own. She's seeing the ball well. She's got some power. So if she can keep seeing the ball like that and keep getting the reps at second base, she'll definitely help there. Like I said, Sylvia Burrows, we tried her at third a little bit in the beginning of the year. She was a little shaky on defense, but she also has like 5 home runs for us this year in the DP spot. But she had a solid weekend this past weekend. She played good D, still seeing the ball well. And as a freshman to do that and come in and have an impact, I think says wonders because you get her for 3 more years after this. So she's doing good.
The glue that kind of holds everything together for you is Riley Ludlam.
Yeah.
And she is a senior, correct? And she decided to hang around when this coach came in, and she didn't know anything about her culture or anything like that, and went through her own injury scare. Fortunately, only missed a couple of games. But just talk about her and what she means to your program right now.
Yeah, Riley, not even just on the field, but she's just something special. And I think she is a coach's dream for culture building, for work ethic. She really just has this calmness about her because of her confidence in the in the batter's box, behind the plate. And I know the team looks to her a lot. She is a true leader on our team. And obviously she's having the best year that she's ever had, knock on some wood, but she's doing great right now. And I think that, she's really worked on being a presence behind the plate even more and being able to lead the team while we're on the field and talk to the team and talk to the pitchers, which is huge. But, she's special. That's for sure.
And that's what you look for from a catcher, because outside of the pitcher, the catcher is the only player on the field that's guaranteed to be involved in every single pitch that's made. She may not catch every pitch if it's put in play, but she's calling the pitch, doing the, setting the targets and doing all those things. And it's amazing. And I don't know if this translates as much in softball. You can tell me, but it's amazing over the years in Major League Baseball, the number of catchers who have gone on to become very successful managers because of the cerebral nature of the position and how they have to go about what they do, and it seems to translate into running a team well. Do you see the same thing from coaching at the softball level?
Yes. And with Riley, I see that in her also, because one thing I've loved about our relationship is I feel like it's very open. Like, we talk to each other about situations. We talk to each other about batters. If a batter comes into a box and she thinks they're way up or way on the plate or off, she talks to me about that too, which is great help when I'm calling pitches, and we have a plan going into a game of what we're going to do to each batter. And I think that is a good sign of a leader also, is knowing that you don't know it all and that you're willing to learn. And she is so willing to learn the game, and she has so much knowledge of the game that I think that the confidence in that knowledge is doing her wonders this year, and will just provide even more here on out.
Do you see coaching in her future?
Oh yeah, I hope she does. She's great. Even when we do like our little camps with the little kids and stuff like that, she's just so patient, and I think that's something you need to have.
I was going to say, talking about needing patience.
Yes.
When it comes to herding cats. We're visiting with Stacey Johnson-Whitfield, the Furman softball coach, here on this week's edition of Inside Furman Athletics. As a coach, you obviously have to be well-versed in every aspect of the game, but I know where your strength and where your heart is, and that's on the mound. And I know that was a struggle last year in your first season. How has that portion of your program come along?
You know, we have the same pitchers as last year. We weren't able to bring anybody else in new. Sierra was obviously, a leader on the mound for us last year. She threw in a lot of really great games last year. She kept us in games, got us some good wins. I was just talking to my assistants in our staff meeting about it, is that it's amazing. Softball has really become a hitter's game, I feel like, right now. There's so much video out there, and there's so much knowledge and technology to help batters prepare to hit off of hitters anymore, that I feel like as a pitcher, it's making it more difficult. So one of the things with Sierra that we kind of knew after she's going into her junior year, there's a lot of video on her. She threw a lot of innings for us. We were going to have to try to tweak things in a way to make her a little bit more successful. I know she's not necessarily, I'm sure she would agree with me, having the season so far that she wishes that she would be having in her junior year. But we have been trying to kind of attack the zone a little bit more with all the pitchers, spin the ball through the zone a little bit more. We're working a lot on spin. And I have like a bucket full of different toys and tools that help them learn their spin with their fingers. But we have focused on trying not to give so many free bases.
Right.
So attacking the zone is going to lead to maybe a couple more hits right now until we kind of get it going. But, I think the key with this year has been Emmy Buzzhart has really stepped in. She was injured last year. She was only able to throw a little bit at the end. But having her this year has been a great 1-2 punch, because they're very opposite of each other too. Sierra is more of an up pitcher. It's rise, fastball, curveball, change up, and she has worked a little bit on a drop, but we don't throw it that often. But Emmy's all drop, curve. She's got a wicked change. So I feel like with those two, they could play off each other very well. And Emmy has just brought a presence to the mound in our other game opposite of Sierra that has made the team, I feel like, very confident that we can pull out a win, which last year was difficult for us. So
as long as you see things trending in the right direction, right?
Yes.
And then your job as a coach is also to address all these issues in recruiting. And I don't know how much the transfer portal comes into play. I know the difficulty of getting kids transfers into Furman. Yeah. So are you using that at all? Because I talked with Kirkland Lewis last week. She said, I'm in the portal every day.
Yeah, well, we are too. But you hit it on the head when you said that it is hard to get a transfer into Furman. We just have a lot more obstacles when it comes to a transfer portal here. We will be looking, obviously, to add a few, if not at least one, from the portal this upcoming next year. But I feel like we brought in a small amount of kids this year because of everything else going on. So we have the 2 transfers, and then just 2 freshmen this year. But I feel like the portal has changed the game also. I feel like this year in softball, anybody who watches softball this year, it's anybody's game any day. And that is amazing to me to see that Power Fives and mid majors are intermixing now, and these transfers that are coming into mid major teams, the ones that it's a little bit easier to get them in and making an impact right away. Like any given weekend, any given day, anybody could win. And I think that's really neat. Hopefully we'll get in there and we'll get some in here to help us out next year. We do have 2 pitchers coming in next year. 2 freshmen that I think are gonna definitely help our pitching staff. But yeah, any help we can get right now, we're going after it.
Yeah, you
My
can't.
staff's on it.
Well, but that's good. I mean, you explore every option, and then do what you can within the framework that you're given to operate. Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Stacey Johnson-Whitfield with us. We continue to talk Furman softball in this week's edition of Inside Furman Athletics. You're 6 games into the conference season. You're 4-2 in the league. How does the conference look to be shaping up?
Like I just said, it's kind of anybody's game. We came in that first weekend and 3 teams swept. We were 3-0, UNCG was 3-0, and Samford was 3-0. And then obviously there was 3 and there was an off, so it was very split. Well, this past weekend, Western took 2 from Sanford, and UNCG had an off weekend, but Mercer then swept Chat. It's all over the board right now. I feel like it's anybody's game for the most part within the SoCon. I think the teams have played tough preseasons, all of us, and I think that we're going to see who learned from those tough preseasons and can bring it into SoCon and be successful. But I really believe it's anyone's game and any weekend right now.
Well, what's your balance when it comes to scheduling philosophy? Because we talked about your non-conference schedule that has featured Clemson twice, Georgia, Mississippi State, South Carolina a couple of times, Mississippi State a couple of times. In fact, what's your philosophy? Obviously, you want to challenge your girls. How do you balance challenging them, but also giving them games that you feel like you've got a really good shot at winning and building confidence?
I think that, from my first year to this year, we're gradually getting to a more balanced type of preseason. So this past year, or this year particularly, we were a little bit less on the Power 5 heavy that I could get us to. But I think that next year it's going to be down a little bit more. I'm hoping to not have so many double headers against the Power 5s. I think we have the talent to play with that team right now, like 1 game. I think 2 games is a lot. It's not necessary. But I think that you have to find that balance between playing the teams that are going to get us going and finding our flow and getting the confidence up. So when you hit that hard game, your confidence is at a spot where you think you can play with them and you know you can. So we're getting there. I think next year will be even more balanced than this year. And I know that this year is even more balanced than last year. So we're getting there.
That's the whole goal, right? Just to continue to move forward.
Yes.
How much more comfortable are you now than you were a year ago?
I don't know if I ever feel like comfortable, because I'm a type of person who always pushes for more and better, and like trying to find the littlest thing to improve, whether that be culture, whether that be facilities, whether that be our team, chemistry and talent. So I don't know if I ever necessarily would use the word comfortable, because I feel like I want to constantly challenge ourselves as a team and as a staff, obviously with a newer staff this year too, to, like just always improve. So
and maybe comfortable is not the right word, but specifically I was kind of going after, you were coaching last year with the interim tag on, and I think as the season went on, we all could see where that was headed. I don't know if you wanted to admit to yourself that things were heading that direction, and you never can until you sign on the dotted line. I understand that, but I think we could all see where that was headed. But still, coaching with the interim tag on versus now not having that. Okay, if comfortable's not the right word, whatever the right word is, are you more that this year?
Yes, I do agree with that. I feel like, I kept on one of our staff members, brought a new one in, and I feel like the staff in general has really come to a place where I'm happy with it, and I think the team's very happy with it. And I guess you could say I've kind of settled in a little bit more because I feel like now it's my opportunity to show like what I feel like the program could be,
right? And
having more of a freedom to recruit and doing all those things to kind of like bring in the players that you want and like you said, create the culture you want. Like all those things feel a little bit more okay. I have some time to do it, even though I'm impatient, but I have some time to kind of get that moving in the direction I want.
And the other aspect of all this is that not only do you have to build that culture within the young ladies who are in the locker room now, but you also have to build a relationship with alumni. You have to build a relationship with supporters, people who might be willing to write a check to help you do some of these things that you want to do. How's that part of your job come along?
Well, last year I really tried to start communication with alumni in general because I want them to believe and know that I believe how important they are to the program. So last year I was sending emails out. I think I sent like 3 to 4 emails out throughout the year to alumni just to kind of like keep them in the loop and let them know what I see the program doing and where I see it going and then just how we're doing, right? So we did that. We've reached out to them a couple of times over the past couple of months to try to see if they want to come on campus, or I know a couple have reached out just wanting to have a conversation with me and get lunch and, stuff like that. But I think right now to mend that relationship with alumni is so important because I feel like I think it's good for the girls to know where this program has come from. It's an old program. It's been here a while. They've had some success in the past. And I feel like it's important to know where you came from to know where you want to go. So
you use the word mend. I don't know if that was a slip or what, but do you feel like the relationship between being the head of the program and the alumni, was it something that needed mended? Was there a bridge that needed to be rebuilt?
Yeah, I just believe that in order for a relationship to be a relationship, you have to actually converse and interact and talk.
Imagine that.
Yeah, so I feel like that's a good starting point if you want to have any kind of relationship in your life ever. That those steps need to be taken in order to within the program need to happen. So. And
as I remind people when I'm asked to speak in churches and some other places sometimes, and this sometimes we get on this topic. Especially in today's society, we forget that one half of a conversation is listening. Do you listen to your alumni?
Yes, I mean I'm trying. Yes. I'm trying to listen because you mentioned obviously at Furman we need funds and we need people to feel like they want to give and help, but I think I'm not necessarily there yet.
Right.
I think we're building the relationship to begin with, and then eventually, hopefully, you start getting people to be inspired to want to be a part of it. So,
it sounds like, and I know that you're on the low end of building the rungs of this ladder, but it sounds like you're starting to build those rungs, and things are coming along. This goes back to the patience thing. Are they coming along as quickly as you want them to come along?
I think they're coming along as quickly as they're supposed to come along.
Right,
it's just my patience needs to.
Right, whether you want it to move faster or not, right?
Yes.
Imagine that. We could spend a whole series talking about life where that's concerned on this topic. All right, let's as we get into wrap-up mode, let's talk about what's coming up. Again, this is being released on Tuesday afternoon. So Wednesday, you're at Clemson, and the last time I saw they were like 31-1 or something like that.
It's like 35-1.
35-1, whatever it is now. I was trying to make it. But that's obviously a heck of a challenge. But then the series with UNCG in SoCon play that was scheduled for Friday and Saturday this weekend has now been moved up to hopefully get all 3 games.
Yeah.
And going to play Thursday, a doubleheader, and Friday here at Pepsi Stadium. Do we know the game times?
It's 4 and 6 on Thursday, and then it's supposed to be 2:00 on Friday.
2:00 on Friday. And all of this is weather permitting. It depends on how quickly this system gets in here. But sometime between late Thursday night, Friday morning, and all the way through Sunday, we're supposed to get a ton of rain.
Ton of rain all weekend. I think it was like Friday to Monday. It's inches and inches. So,
and as we were kind of talking before we started recording the show, what you get into if you can't get all of your conference games in, then conference standings go by winning percentage as opposed to just games behind. And so if you've played fewer games, that can either help you or hurt you depending on how things go.
Yeah, especially with who is at the top and
Right.
they're doing that between. So, and like I said, the SoCon this year, I think right now, it really is up in the air. I don't think anybody knows exactly how it's going to turn out within the past couple weekends. So getting any games you can in against everyone is really going to be crucial.
What do you know about UNCG?
UNCG is always a tough one. They're always up there in the conference. I know they lost their main pitcher this past year, but they brought in 2 transfers and 2 one I think is a freshman, one is a returner. They always seem to offensively hit the ball well. They have a lot of power too. But I truly believe that if we can come in and pitch our game and play the defense the way that we can play defense, our hitting is really come along this year. I mean, I think right now we're leading the SoCon in team average for hitting. And we're second in home runs, which is kind of funny because I told our team in the beginning of the year that we're not going to be the team that hits home runs. We're going to put the ball in play. We're going to bunt the ball. We're going to put pressure on. And here we are with like 30 home runs for the season.
When you get a pitcher talking offense, this is what happens.
That's
right?
what happens, I guess. But I wouldn't take it away. That's for sure. But I just think that obviously against a team like UNCG, you got to play your best in all those things. And it's going to come down to that one mistake or, that one thing that might change the course of the game. And I think that we can come in and really give them some games and come out with some wins. It just depends.
Well, I hope our fans get a grasp on the main message that we're trying to get across here. This young lady and her program are on the rise, and I hope that you'll embrace it. If you're an alumni, if you're a supporter, I hope that you get the sense of all of the great things that are bubbling under the surface and at some point are just going to explode here, and that you throw your support behind Stacey and the softball program because they not only they need it, they deserve it. And we just can't wait to see how things continue to move forward. I know I've broadcast 2 or 3 of different games so far this season. I've got 2 more dates on the schedule, one of which is Friday if the weather allows. And it's my first time broadcasting softball, and I've really enjoyed it, and hoping that things just continue to move forward with the program, because as I say, you deserve it.
Thank you. I mean, I think the girls really deserve it. They've put a lot of work in this year, and I know it's just the beginning of things, and like I said, next year is just going to hopefully keep tumbling forward in the right direction, and I think there's some great things to come for Furman softball.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Hopefully those things include getting in all of the games this weekend against UNCG. But, again, we're dropping this on Tuesday afternoon, so Wednesday at Clemson. You can watch that on ESPN Plus, right?
No, it's nationally televised.
Oh, nationally
it's gonna be
televised.
ACC Network.
Oh, there you go, ACC Network. Yeah. And then the new schedule for UNCG, 4 and 6 o'clock on Thursday at Pepsi Stadium, and then 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon, and all that, of course, is weather permitting.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
As always. And we'll go ahead and tell people, too, that starting on Monday, we'll resume the On Deck feature with Furman softball, as well as the In the Crease with Kirkland Lewis and her women's lacrosse teams. We'll be dropping those interviews on Mondays starting next week if all goes according to plan. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
This has been Inside Furman Athletics. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to having you back with us again next week. And next week is our Ask the AD monthly get-together. Jason Donnelly will be with us, and we'll have a special coach guest there as well. Don't know who that is yet. I told Jason last night, that monthly show is yours. I'm just here to navigate. So bring in who you want, and we'll go from there. Thank you again to Stacey Johnson-Whitfield for her and all of us at Furman. I'm Dan Scott. Say God bless you, and so long, everybody.